we will go through it. But don't worry that, okay, don't worry that, I have learned less, or don't worry that, I'm not able to follow. Always ping me your questions, and then we will get started. So I'll also give you a link through which you could follow, and then create cluster and everything, so that it becomes easier, for you to get things done. Do today is tracing Python applications with Elastic APM. So Elastic APM is an open source APM. We'll talk more and dig more about what is tracing and how all of this helps. But before that, I'll talk about the core technology and everything in this area. So I'm Arvind. I work at Elastic as a developer advocate. There is my blog and my Twitter handle. If you want to follow about all the new tech news, etc., so you can get more, or you can even DM me with your question, direct message me with your questions. That's it about the stuff. And apart from that, so specifically, what key takeaway that you would do is you would learn to build a tracing platform, like a tracing solution, like what is happening in your application by the end of this session, like say using Python, because it's a Python and a Python library. So I think we'll talk and look more about that actually. Now, what is Elasticstack? A lot many people question me about this. A lot many people ask me various things about this. Now what I want to go and talk about is, Elasticsearch is a distributed NoSQL, uh, I mean, search engine, and REST API based search engine, so that you have APIs for everything, where you put data and you ask questions, it simply responds. At the same time, you have Kibana, which we are going to see today. Kibana is a UI on top of Elasticsearch, and then you will be able to talk to Elasticsearch using Kibana. Kibana is your front end for Elasticsearch, which is a database, okay, which is like a data store. I should not say it's a relational database, but it's a regular NoSQL data store. Then, but which are powerful search capabilities actually. That's the catch with Elasticsearch. And then you have Logstash and Beats, which are ingestion technologies, which are ingestion modules, and then which helps you to ingest data, pull data from various sources, and do all of that. But today we are not going to talk very specifically on the stack features, because stack itself is like really huge. We are only talking about a thin slice, okay, a thin slice out of this particular three. So out of stack, there are three specific solutions, which we call as search, observe, and security, and protect actually. So we are going to talk about observability. In that, again, a thin slice called APM. So yeah, so specifically, like when you're talking about who uses Elasticstack, so there are developers who build who build software systems. There are DevOps professionals who are part of practitioners, like who build operations around your code, etc. There are security admins, or people who look after your security operation command center, infosec. Or there are project managers who monitor, maintain, manage, product owners who look at latencies of your application, etc. So these are the people who look, at who use Elasticstack. So where can you deploy Elasticstack? You can deploy it on any cloud, because it's an open source system. You can deploy it on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, or it's platform agnostic. That means you can run it anywhere on any operating system. You can run it on any cloud actually. And then obviously, if you are into Kubernetes, you could run also Elasticstack, the entire cloud kind of a solution, into Kubernetes actually. So what is APM? We are all talking about a lot of these things. What is APM and how does it work? So specifically, in a nutshell, what is APM is, when you take a database in a typical application world, in a web application world, you see that there is a database, there is a client, I mean, there is an application which is interacting to the database and probably serving your users requests actually. Now if you see here, when it sometimes your data, you when you ask a question to this particular data store, or where your application itself is this one, and then when you ask a question, it might take certain amount of time to respond. It gives a proper response code, like say 200 all okay, that everything is working. When you ask for a REST API, when it detail like top 10, then it actually started at 30 seconds, and it took 38 came result the result came at 38 seconds. So that means there is a lag of 8 seconds. Why did my request take 8 seconds? So you could find out with APM. I'm telling in front, like you could find out things like these, like why did my request take 8 seconds where it is spending more amount of time. Okay, so that is one thing, so that you can go and fix or go and improve the things that you want to improve. So that is one another thing. And also, like sometimes when you have an error, like I say, if you have a, you know what do you call, if you have a exception or an error or something that you it is happening in the production when you deploy it onto the cloud, and then it's happening in the production, then you want to know why did my response return a 500 error, and how does it work. So this is another way to look at the entire ecosystem and entire stuff. So these are some small examples that I could tell you when I'm talking about tracing. Now, what else can be done? So there are request response flows, which we saw, request and response, errors, response time percentiles, how much time, how many times that the API is returning 500s, 400s, 300s, 200s, or what are the various things, or even finding bugs, exceptions, issues that are occurring in your in your client side, in your all of these actually. So why so important? So a lot many people ask me why so important as well. So if you see, as a developer, you ship code to the cloud or your on-prem data center. You deploy an application in the cloud, right? But your user who interacts with this, this entire thing, will try to kind of like see whether the application, I mean, will force will see that the application might be giving errors, the application might be giving warnings, the application might be taking more time to load itself, right? So who is responsible, or like the user can obviously report and give it to the support people. But then if there is a better way that you as a developer get to know all of this without looking at logs, something like logs, and with getting more information proactively out of your productive production system, is much more easier for you to follow, right? So if you see here, if you enable APM, the solution that we are going to talk about, if you enable APM, you will be able to ship all the metrics of this application, all the interesting important metrics of this application, to the stack, to the Elastic Stack. Thereby you as a developer will be able to query that and learn and make assumptions and do stuff actually. So that's how this workflow would work actually. Why this particular situation is very important, or what helps, what APM helps further. So what APM specifically helps is, like suppose you have logs, you have your metrics that are generated by your servers, like say CPU percentage, heap percentage, your logs that are generated out of your application, like say user entered this function, user left this function, user is doing this, user is doing that. You are writing this thing, right? You are writing the logs when an exception occurs. So logs is one area and metrics is another area, and both of them also overlap because there's a time factor, but because everything has a timestamp to attach it to it. So the time is a common factor across all of this, right? Every time when you enter a enter an application, when you type google.com, you are going to log in or look at Google. So the third factor here, if you look at things here, is the traces. So specifically, so the tracing is another part wherein which will establish us to do this particular thing, which will intersect at that particular area and then help you to find out the problem at the exact point of time that you want to really follow. So this is how this observability works. So the observability is a way that you can understand the internal state of system by by giving some outputs, and then you let to know about more and more stuff. So that's what you get to see here. Now another thing is, here you have how does this architecture look like, what is the architecture of this system, and what are the things that you need to do for looking at this thing. Now APM is not just for Python. APM can be used for any other language as well. But the stack, whatever I say till now, I was giving stack, right? So the APM server, Elasticsearch, and Kibana. So everything works according to this particular stuff. So you have application, and you can ship the metrics or traces, or you can ship the traces, etc., through APM server to Elasticsearch. So I'll also talk about more. I'll show you these things easier so that you can get started. Now, the important part of this entire discussion is Elastic APM is completely open source. That means it is under Apache 2.0 license. You can contribute to the any agent, any programming agent. The APM server is written in Golang. Python agent, which supports a lot of frameworks like Django, Flask, AIOSTTP, and other frameworks, which is also open source. You can go and take a look at it actually, and it is available at it is available at github.com/elastic/apm. You will see this page, and from there you can go to the link that you want to go. I hope I am clear, and if you have any questions, again, please let me know in the chat. Now, Elastic APM, talking more about the Elastic APM Python agent, it is compatible with all the web service gateway interface apps. It has three different models to attach. It has different configurations. I mean to say that you can attach, and supports most Python versions. I'm somehow I think this is not exactly right. Like, say, there are no three different modes. Actually, there are different configurations that you could probably attach to, and then like a Django, everything, and then like it supports most Python versions, major web frameworks, data stores, and template engines in the Python extension. So Q has asked me, I'm new to IT and I want to ask what the word Elastic means. Elastic is the company name. So if you see the logo here, Elastic is the name of the company. It's the name of the product. So name of the company which is doing the solution. So Elasticsearch is a product from Elastic. So that's the word Elastic mean. If you are asking really what is Elastic as the English word, it's something that is expandable. It is something that is scalable. Now, at this point of time, you might ask, that's it? Nothing else? Or this is it about the workshop, or any questions? No, not like that. I have few more tidbits for you to learn. So now, because everyone is here for doing workshop with me, so now that we have a little bit of base around the topic that we are discussing, so what we will do is we will kind of log into the Elastic Cloud. I would request everyone to click on the link that I'm going to give you here and create an account and follow my instructions to create a cluster. Okay, so that so we can do all of that easily. So let me paste that link. So please click on that link, and you will be redirected. You will be shown a page, and then you just need to enter your email, start the trial, nothing to be done. And once you log in, you will be able to see a page like this. I'll show you what it is. A page like this, and there's saying like create deployment, and you will see a fresh create deployment page. I hope that you could follow me. We will do step by step. we'll do it slowly so that you get to know things. Once you log into the cloud, I think you can do it later as well, like you keep the process going on. Once you log into the account, create something, then you click on this create deployment. When you click on create deployment, there are multiple cloud platforms here, and multiple stuff. Now remember, this gets you into a 30-day trial, and you don't need to spend any money. It's free, just for learning purpose, just for your education. So you can learn, play around, do whatever you want, and then once you're done, like you get to learn about all of these things, right? So then you can decide what you can do further. So, or you can ask me to see if I could extend the trial actually. So if you see that there is a select a cloud platform, so you could choose the cloud of your choice. You could choose to deploy it on a region that works for you. I would choose Mumbai because it is near to my place. I mean, it is in the same country. That's why I was choosing Mumbai. But you could also choose a different city as well, like say Singapore. You could use Singapore. Um, like yeah, you can obviously choose. I mean, if we have a different cloud platform, I mean, this is Elastic Cloud. We are trying to spin up a cluster here, but if you are probably Alibaba or Ali Cloud, or using on Ali Cloud or IBM or different cloud platforms, it still works. You can, like I said, it can be deployed on any cloud service. And then there are many partners to us, like Megazone and different companies. In fact, Alibaba's Elastic Search service in Ali Cloud, is is Elastic's own. We are a partner to them, and then we directly mint and ship that, and then they use that particular thing. Now that being said, now let us quickly move through it, and then you can create in anywhere. Now on the Azure front as well, you have Singapore region, so that you could go and deploy that. And on the AWS front, I believe that you have Singapore region, you can deploy that. So I'm just using Google Cloud, and I'm deploying in Mumbai as of now. You can also change. Now what I will do is I will deploy, first of all, I'll deploy a search engine. um, but you don't do that. Okay, let me explain you completely, and then you can try to do it. Okay, so or else what I'll do is, like, you can only spin one deployment because it's a trial cluster. So what I'll do is, like, I'll deploy a APM cluster. You need to do that, and then we need to start looking at things. So Elasticstack version is 7.9.1. Please choose the latest one or the one that is selected. Don't change anything there. And you don't need to change all of this as well, like the IO optimized, compute optimized, different architectures. Don't worry about it at this point of time. Just click on IO optimized, and then you can also customize the deployment. Like, say, you will be able to enable machine learning, you'll be able to enable coordinated node, increase the size of Kibana to 2 GB 3 GB, APM size. I think just because for learning purpose, I don't think you need to do anything of that sort. What I would ask you to do is, you can definitely enable the enterprise search here. So what you could do is, like, you could click on enable here, and then just let the 2 GB RAM work out, so that you have a holistic deployment. So you have, if you see here, I have one data node, Kibana, APM, enterprise search. So any questions? If you have any questions or any doubts at this point. Okay, I understand. So I'll zoom in a bit. I believe. So what we did is, let me go back. First of all, what we did is, I gave the name APM, and then I chose a cloud platform, Google Cloud, and then I selected Mumbai, the region. You can select Singapore, which is near to you, and then you could also set up the deployment as 791, and then click on click on the IO optimized thing, and then you'll be able to do customized deployment. Come here, and then come to the end. Okay, come to the end and just click on enable enterprise search. Understand? Enable, and you click on enable enterprise search, and that will be enabled. That's it. And then now you click on the create deployment. Any questions here?
Aravind,
Yes.
what is the gcp.data.hit high IO? The one is for what? I don't understand.
I didn't get you. Can you tell me again?
Though I just want to know what the gcp.data.high IO the one used for. What is the use? What is what are the things that can configure there? What's the thing?
Okay, so specifically, this particular thing means it is a hardware setting that we give you. So it is like high IO. It will take high input output operations, and you no need to worry about it at this point of time, just because you are still getting started. So don't worry about it. And just look at these things, like enable the enterprise search, and then you are good to go. So I believe that everyone should be able to see these things. I hope I answered the question Q. But then you just need to enable at Elasticsearch, Kibana, APM enterprise search. That's it. Any other question? Yes,
Thank
one
you.
more. Yeah.
Hi, Aravind. I'm Grace here. What's
Okay.
the purpose of the enterprise search? Why do we enable it? Yeah.
Okay, great. So in the application that we are going to build today, in the application that we are going to get and write stuff, we are gonna do the application in this form. Like, you have a Python app Flask application. I believe that some of you might be knowing Flask is a framework in Python. You have Python Flask application, and it has a movie search engine. It has movies, and you can search movies. Okay, so for the search engine, we are using enterprise search from Elasticsearch itself. So Elasticsearch can work as an enterprise search solution and also an analytics solution. Okay, so what we are trying to do here is, you have a search engine and Python application, and then you are monitoring this entire search engine and application through APM. Okay, so that is a core thing. So that's what we are creating here. So I believe that I answered that question.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Okay, so we will see that. So we'll see that. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to complete the entire thing in 1.5 hours, but I'll try to take it as slow as possible, and also help you. So I believe that if you are seeing these four, you should, and otherwise you need to go through edit again. So I don't want you to do that. So please click on create deployment, and once you click create deployment, you will be able to see the you'll be able to see the username and password through which you will be able to like log into the machine. Okay, so it loads up to a machine. Just wait and see. Yeah, so click on download. Okay, and it's saying getting started with your deployment and everything. Let me see, and I'll give you more details as we get started and do more stuff. Now meanwhile, while that is happening, what we need to look at is, you can go to the GitHub repo. I'll ping this link into this thing and clone the GitHub repo. I believe everyone has access to the Git client. So you just need to do git clone app search Flask app. You could go to this place. Okay, copy the link. Okay, I'm just copying the link. Come to my place. I have a workspace folder. I'll just see ls. I already have app here, but I don't want to use it. I'll do mkdir and pycon clear cd pycon, and then I don't have anything here. So I'll say git clone. Okay, so it is cloning the app search Flask app into this particular place. So now when I do lsltr, I should be able to see that, yes, I have this particular app ready for you. I'll just click on CD. I'm getting into this thing, and then I have all the code ready, right? So meanwhile, you can do that. If you have any questions, again, please let me know. I will ping this. I have pinged already the app link, so you should be able to, get stuff ready. So meanwhile, what's happening here? Did we kind of get started, or what is happening? So we haven't get yet started. So just let us wait and see what happens. So once this instance is ready, so if you see that the instances are getting spin up here, now you have the APM, you have the others, you have the other things. Yeah. Any questions again? I hope I'm not going too fast. But if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll wait for your questions and doubts, and also, like, yeah, it's more or less ready. By the time I show you all of this, I just want to give it a time, and then uh, and then, like, explain your stuff. Since it is open source, do we can we host our self using different cloud provider? 100% you can do that. You just need to download this thing in the interest of time, and I don't want to trouble you a lot, because each one of you might be on a different platform, wherein you might be using Windows, you might be using other stuff, so that's why I didn't show you. But then you can go to Elastic downloads, and then like download all of this individually, and install on your Linux machine, and then do all of that. What I would recommend is not to do that, because you focus on your I mean, for the workshop definitely yes, but in general also, you focus on your business problem much better. So even though if you want to download, rather than downloading and installing and running everything, you can choose a cloud, and whatever cloud provider that you are looking at, whatever the different cloud provider that you are looking at, Anthony, you can definitely find Elasticsearch as a service there itself, and you could use that. Yes, all the open source solutions are containerized. So if you go to docker.elastic.co, okay, so you will see a portfolio, of different sort of portfolio that I'm sure. I don't know why it's taking a bit of time. Let me Google it. Because sometimes Google has a better cache. So we containerize all the stuff. So here you go. The Google has better cache. So we containerize all the stuff. You can download everything, and you can deploy it. So if you want to explore APM, and then explore namespace, and then you have all types of OSS, everything. Great. So if you want to run it on Kubernetes, I would definitely recommend, please use the Elastic Cloud on Kubernetes, which is another Kubernetes downloadable. It's just like a operator to run on Elasticsearch. So don't use the raw containers and try to build stuff by yourself. Use the automation again, which is free, open. Just enjoy. Great. Deployment has been created. It might take 3 minutes generally. In this case, it took bit more, because we are doing both search as well as observability in one place. Please do not do it in your production cluster. This is just for learning. Okay. So I'll quickly show you the APM stuff, and then we'll go to the application part. Okay. Now click on launch, which will automatically take us through to the app. So you don't need to give your credentials except for your enterprise search offering, because that follows a different sort of a solution. Usually you don't need to do that. So let me kind of try to see if I could do this. Okay, it's asking credentials, no problem. So generally it takes you through the authentication. So what I'll do is, like, I'll simply open this. Okay. I open this and I have a username and a password. So I'll just use that, the one that we downloaded. So if you miss downloading, don't worry, you can always reset the password. Okay. Now APM. Okay. There is some issue. We need to see whether it is working. Healthy. Everything should be healthy. I mean, which is obviously, but I just want to, be sure of things. Let me see if it is working or not, or it is throwing another error. At this point of time, there isn't anything in our server. It's all clean, all simple. Okay. So this is APM. So this is Kibana actually. In that you have this APM app. So if you see the left menu, if you see, if you remove all of this, and then you will see observability. In that you have logs, metrics, APM. So we are in the APM app right now. You can also go and see the enterprise search, wherein we are going to do app search deployment. We are not learning app search today. I'll be very quick. So you have instructions, and then you simply go through it very swift way, so that you don't need to worry about it. So let me quickly take you through that. Now click on app search. It shows some stuff here, and then say you saw launch app search. Click on launch app search, and then it will take you to this particular place. Another username, password. So all this is getting changed as we speak. Now you don't need to give username password every time, because you're in the same cloud. It is simply easier for you to get started. So I will not trouble you a lot. So what I want to do is, like, most of this data and this application is already set. Did everyone download the code? Did everyone log into the code? I mean, download the code from, checked out the code from the GitHub. You just need to type git clone URL, and this will show you here. And I have multiple branches here. Git branch -a. I have multiple branches. So I have a basic Flask app, then add app search, Docker, APM, multiple stuff. But we are not going to do that. Okay. So we are not going to do that. We're simply going to check out. We're not going to go through each and every branch because of the time. We'll just git checkout APM. Okay. So we'll get into the APM branch. So I believe that you are able to follow me through here. So clear, and you need an editor. So I prefer Visual Studio Code. It is easier for you to do that. But then if you have any other editor as well, it is still okay. You just need a text pad or notepad or some sort of editor to do that. You could also use VIM if you are comfortable. But you might be editing more, and like it's easier if you see stuff in a much graphical manner. And what I'll do is, like, I'll just open the Visual Studio Code here. Let me show you that. I hope you're able to see that, right? I hope you're able to see that. Are everyone following through with me? Now what I did is, like, I have a main.py, a bunch of files, JSONs, something called templates, which has HTMLs, a static repo with some CSS, the VS Code files, Docker file, Git attributes, multiple stuff, right? So don't worry about anything. Don't look at anything. Just open two files, which is config.json, okay, and main.py, okay. So first, let us go through config.json, and I hope that all of you are here. So we have to open two files actually. One is config.json and one is main.py. That is the work we have. So before doing anything, let us give the configuration details here, okay. And then we can go back to the UI and create the search engine, and then, like, come add the APM, and then, like, do all of that, okay. So what we will do is, like, go to this particular place, and first create a search engine. Now what I did here is I opened this enterprise search. You can click on this link, given the username password that I have, and then I logged into this particular place. Now even if you skip the onboarding, think that you are skipping the onboarding, you can still do it later. Don't get confused. But I'm here to help you. Okay. So movies, I just give the engine name to be movies. Please give it movies. If not, you need to change accordingly in the config file. Okay. So I'm just going ahead, and then I have it says that upload a JSON or use the API. We will do it differently. We will not do both of them. We'll just go ahead, by just not indexing any data. You can skip onboarding, or if you are very interested to know what is this, just click on paste JSON, and don't click continue. Just come here, open this data, and you have data.json, and then you'll be able to pick out some data from here, like say one or two slices of data, and then you come back to this. So what I did here is I copied from the data.json file here, data full.json, clicked open, right? I copied this one, the JSON script, JSON snippet, okay? And then I went back, opened these two braces. This is not curly braces, normal braces, and then I pasted it, okay? And continue. So I added one document, okay? So how did you access this page? Great. So data ended successfully. Okay, we will be moved through a page. So that's how it is. How did you access this page? Just click open on enterprise search, or you could click on, from Kibana, you could click this launch app search. So you can open Kibana, click on launch Kibana. There are multiple ways to do it. Click on launch Kibana, explore on my own, okay? And then you click, this bar, and then you have enterprise search, then you click app search, and then, it already showed here, but then you click on launch app search, which will lead us to this place.
Aravind, Gracie again. How do you get the credentials again?
Okay, so the credentials are shown first when you deploy. If you have clicked download, have you clicked download? If you click download, you would be able to
That's the one. Okay.
if you click download, yes. If not, you need to go through the reset deployment password, okay, which will reset and show you the password again. Okay, so how would you mind to give link here? My link wouldn't work for you, so I would recommend you to go through this thing, Kibana app search, launch app search. I hope that worked. Just create movies, and then open the data.json and do this stuff. Data ended successfully. Visit, and then visit, and then you see this thing, right? This entire UI is going into Kibana in the upcoming releases. So you don't need to worry about, click on launch app search from Kibana. I mean, from here. What we are trying to do is like give all there is no second UI. Kibana will be the UI for everything actually. Okay, so don't worry about it. For the time being, we just need to focus on the workshop and learn the stuff, and then we can get to it. So now that we have created a search engine, and we indexed one document, and we have everything that at our hand, what we need to do is come here, and open the config.json. So if you are stuck somewhere, please write in the this thing. I meant to say the what do you call the chat, and I'll be able to help you. So come here, come back to the main UI, and then you need to copy the endpoint for, copy endpoint. Just copy and copy to the clipboard here. Okay, copy endpoint, click on it, it is copied. Then come back to the Visual Studio Code, then paste it. You will see this thing, right? But this is not the login ID that we want to do, because this is an API endpoint. So what we are going to do is like we need to call an API, and that is what we are going to monitor. Okay, so I will remove this HTTPS. We don't need that. I will also remove ASV1. So if you have questions, I have already backup. So I have created a sample doc so that you all can refer. So let me go and give you that. So this is how it looks like. So if you see here, okay. This is how it looks like. There is a key. I'll tell you the key. Engine name, you know that it is movies. Now it should look like that. You can copy paste from here, right? You can copy paste this one. See, cloud.com API ASV1. Got it? You have API ASV1. Okay, I missed API. My mistake. Right? No. You should not copy Kibana endpoint. That's the catch here. You should copy enterprise search. Enterprise search. Okay, clear. Now that we have all of this, now that we have everything ready, most of it, we also need to have API key. Where is this API key? I'm sorry, it is going here and there, but I am sure that this is gonna get settled in the coming days. So click on the movie. Okay, again, I have gone a bit fast. So engines, now come to the app search UI, click on the movies. Okay, click on the credentials, and then you have private key, right? So private key has read and write access. That means you can write to the search engine. You can also read from the search engine. There is search key, which is only search. Remember, we are not learning app search deeply. We are just using app search to create our application in the limited time that we have today, and also learn about APM actually. So I thought of giving my own credentials yesterday, but then because there is an opportunity for you to create this entire thing by yourself, I thought make you also do it actually. So API key, you have just paste it, and then you see movies, done, movies, and then comes to the next part of the credential part. Similar way, we copy the server URL, service name, and the service token. So okay, I hope people have completed this thing. Yes. So I believe that we need to rush a bit. We are near. There is 2 more steps, and we will see results. So anyone stuck, please let me know. App search API keys, get from movie access credential. Okay, yes, exactly. You come to the repo. So this is the main page, and then you have movies, and then you have credentials, and then you have private key. Copy the private key, and then paste it here. That's it. Once each one of you are done with these 3 settings, now we'll move to the next settings, and we'll paste it. So what I did is like I pulled out these settings from the app and then kind of pasted it here so that settings remain in a separate config page. Now let me go to the API part. Now thinking that you are all on same page, I'm going to the API APM use case, the APM part. This is not search engine, this is APM. So what you need to do is like you can copy the endpoint here, APM endpoint, you need to copy. Okay, I clicked on copy, and then server URL here, just give this. So I also have an example so that you don't need to worry about it. I'll paste it so that you can do this by yourself. So it looks like this with no end, with nothing to be done. Okay, so just with the HTTPS actually, and you have the service name. You can give the service name in the choice that you want. I'll give it as Flask or Flask PyCon. I'll give it this way. You can give it your name or whatever you like. It's just a name that gets displayed in the APM UI. Okay. Now come back. We only copied the server URL. We named the service name actually. Now you need to do. You need to also get the secret token. So what happens? Why this private key secret token is ensuring the your app and the communication is everything is secure. So this is like a credential, right? So what we are doing here is we need to get that credentials as well for the APM key. Now come to the main page. In the main page you have these deployments, APM, etc. Click on the APM. Okay, if you click on the APM, it shows you APM server secret token. It's not recommended to show on the summary page, so that's why we are showing inside. So click on copy to clipboard. You have copied it, and then you paste it here. That's it. Save. So we are good. So once everyone completes it, um, please let me know, and then we can move to the next step. So in VS Code, you could see that we are at the APM, the branch, and we have got all these details, and yeah. Great. So I believe that majority of you are done. So if you have filled these details, we need to go and do a sanity check first of all, and then we'll be able to get things done. So I have shown you that this APM page which we are looking at, like if you come to the Kibana, so that is all about this. This workshop is all about the APM. It's not about app search or any search engine, but that I'm showing you as an additional thing so that you get to know a full-fledged application, a complex application. But then this is where you need to look for things actually. So now when we start our app, the app should report here, and the app should also report metrics here, right? So what we need to do is like let's open main.py and just look at the code that we have today here. What does the code do? What are the various things? Now I'm closing everything. So I have a Flask import statement. I have Elastic APM, some stuff like the app search client, because I'm talking to the search engine, and I also have the Flask client of APM. So what APM has, as I said, they have agents, small agents or libraries. For Java, it is jar. For Python, it is package, and various other things. It is different things. So these are need to be installed or bring in, right? So here I have this, I have this logging module, JSON module, and a bunch of code. Before going there, I'll explain that I have made a requirement.txt, and all the app dependencies are mentioned here. Okay, so all of these are here. PS util is something that APM app needs it, so APM library needs it, so that's how it is there. So I would need so what I do is, to every time I'd obviously create a virtual environment and do everything there, rather than doing in a plain Python normal world, because that might create problems if you have environmental issues. So let me go back. So I believe that you are with me, right? Any questions here? So I just showed you what dependencies that I have, and then I showed you the requirement.txt. Those are mentioned here. Any questions? Okay, you missed the secret token. Secret token is here. It's in the deployments, APM, secret token. It's in the deployments, APM, secret token. Okay, great. Okay, so here we have all the dependencies. Now come back to the thing. Now the Python version that I have is 3.7.3. Okay, because I am in an environment already, which is okay. But if you are not, like I said, like if you have seen the instructions from the yesterday's the mail from Ivy, you should definitely go and look at it. If not, there is a virtual environment that we have created, so we should create that. So let me bring that command actually, so that great. Just give me a moment. I'm just trying to find that. You just need to create a virtual environment. I'm just trying to see that. Okay. Yeah. So on Mac and on Windows, on Mac and Linux, you have to type this for installing the virtual environment. On if you haven't, on Windows, sometimes you could use pip actually. On Windows, this is this command. Okay, I missed it. Okay, so if you have installed all of this, just create a environment with I'll paste that command as well. So I have these handy, but I just don't want to confuse you and create that. So Python 3 env mvenv. So creating environment, you have creating environment. So that is a command actually. You just create a Python 3 environment, and then that's how it works. So I hope you should be able to do it. It is for our safety and good. It is easier if you do that. Yeah, let me see this pwd. Okay, I don't know. Okay, clear. Then let's say source bin, source env bin. Okay, it doesn't have. So let me exit from this this particular thing, and then let me log into a different command terminal, so that I am clear on what I'm doing. I'll just come back at you. So you are good. I am not good. I need to get things straight. So let me get to that thing. Okay, clear. CD, great. Now I'll need to create this environment because I don't have an environment, uh, system here. I just need to create my own environment. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to create this thing. Okay, it's there. So I'll say source env bin activate. Right. So I'm in the environment. I say Python version clear. Got it. So you will also see the env files here if you are in the Windows. I mean, like if you are in the VS Code. Clear. Any questions here? This is just to ensure that we are installing the right dependencies. We will not have any problems. If some people might have Python 2.7, and then it might cause problems running program. So yeah, for PowerShell users, maybe there's a different way to do it. I didn't give you that. Okay, great. So now I just need to do the regular pip install -r requirements.txt. If I do this, I'll be able to install all the dependencies that are needed, right? So let me click on enter. Okay, I believe I'm good. So I got all things right. So I think you should also be doing this thing. And any questions until this point? We are very near. We are very near to the completion. We have few more stuff, and then I believe that you can see some results actually. Okay, I'll just go ahead. Considering that you're near, so I just install the packages, and then I'll walk you through the code. So here, if you have, just open the main.py, and then in the main.py, I have a few APIs actually. Okay, so if you see here, I'm loading the config.json, first instantiating the Flask, and then opening this config.json, loading all the settings actually, and then I am instantiating. So how do you get started with APM? What does this APM do? So I'm just loading this APM client into this app. I'm wrapping up this Python app with that APM library, so that whenever a call comes out, it goes through the APM. And remember, it is lightweight. It will not disturb or stop your app. So that is for sure. Okay, so we make sure that the overhead is as less as possible. So then you also have the client, and then you have this specific client, and then this client is app search client. Now if you see here, I have Elastic App Search Import client. Okay, so I'm just instantiating the client with the base endpoint, API key use, HTTPS true. We did this we got all these things into the config file there actually. Now I also have an engine name. You know what is the engine name? It's movies. And then now coming to the API part, I have a error that we'll see later. Let me comment out this thing. Now I have this data.client.search engine name. Just search for an empty thing and show you the home.html and put all the data. Then you also have a search endpoint. I also have an index endpoint to index all the data that is there in data.json. So data.json is a file that I have which contains a lot of data. Okay, so I also have that. Now we can call all these APIs and see how these APIs are performing in on your app by monitoring using Elastic APM. Sounds fun, right? So we'll quickly go through it. Any questions here? Now I'll quickly go back to the command line. I know that I have a terminal here, but I don't want to, complicate things here, because you might not be able to see everything that I'm showing here. Now let me write Python main.py. The different ways to run a Flask app. I'm just using this thing. Now I'll go to the site, localhost 5000. I should be able to see, right? We have ingested one particular doc here, the document that is there. And then we have a search bar. Sorry for the UI, because I'm not a great front end engineer. I use very little front end UI, but I have a lot of back end expertise. So I show you all of that actually. So now that we have this thing, let us see. Now we have put at this one. Okay, Sony has got an error. I'll come to that. Probably there is some issue with your URL, etc. That we can do. I'll come to that. Great. So now you have this particular stuff, and then but we need to have more data, right? We need to look at more data. We will do that. We will use the index endpoint here. We will use a search endpoint here to search through the data actually. Now let me quickly show you the services page. Now you see last 15 minutes nothing is there, but I just want to refresh again and see whether you have this or not. You got Flask PyCon. When you click, you see that we just hit only once. That is why it is showing once, but it will also show more stuff as we get things. Now it's saying average duration is 1005 milliseconds. Pretty bad actually. 95th percentile transactions per minute, 1 transactions per minute, because it's just doing that. Yeah, exactly. You need to change that configuration details. Then errors, nothing as of now. Then metrics, all of this thing. Then service map, service map is like what your services are talking to. Like, your data is talking to some specific enterprise search. Like I said, it is talking to a search engine, right? Another data store kind of a thing. So you'll be able to see that, and then transactions, etc. Right? Now we'll do some more stuff. Now there is only get here. We'll also use the index endpoint. Like I said, index pulls the data, right? I have written some junk code, so and then like it will just pull the data and index into the the Elastic search, the app search here. You also see the total documents are 1. Now when I click here slash, I know it's not so visible, but just bear with me. So I am typing this particular rate here. I'm just typing this particular endpoint. So if I click here and click on index, it says it runs through it and shows me some bunch of errors, that this and all. So I have an about HTML and I'm just showing that. Now we'll go and see, we'll refresh this page, whether we'll see whether the documents are ingested or not. Okay, it's showing it's not. Let me go back and see whether it is ingested or not. Yeah, it takes a while to show you, and then it'll show you immediately. Okay, yeah, it started to show that the documents, earlier we have only 1, now we are having more amount of details. So let me refresh that. But meanwhile, you will also see that if you refresh here, I'll put it for the last 5 minutes and refresh every 2 seconds. That means it will automatically apply and start. It will automatically refresh every 2 seconds the page, and then see that we have a index page, and you see that we have only 1 hit, and you don't have transactions and everything. If you have a polar kind of a thing, you'll also be able to see. Now if you see that uh, the response, you will see the response trace, like this is called spans. This entire thing is called transaction. So every hit that you do is like a transaction, right? You start calling that API on your application, and application calls a database completes the work, comes back. So each one is taking their own time, small unit of time, but you don't know, right? So how do you find out? So you will be able to find out using this, right? You have you as a user, you are going to do all of this, and then there is a huge chunk of time that your search engine has taken to complete the request and get to you, and your about.html took like 191 microseconds to render. Okay, and you have multiple actions. You can set alerts, you can see that logs from here. That's what I'm telling about the observability. You can do multiple stuff. Now you also see the transactions duration distribution. In traditional world, not every server will respond. Maybe some server is having a lot of capacity issue, etc. Some might be completing in 0 milliseconds, some might take 100, some might take 1500. This one is taking 2500 millisecond, right? Now if you see here, I'll come back, I'll show you. Okay, it's not showing because it's last 5 minutes. Let me reset it to 15 minutes so that we'll be able to see the get window. Okay, now you have see get as well. Now if you see here, this one is also showing 1000. It's not 2500 milliseconds, it's 1000 milliseconds. Now there's a good chance that over a period of time this might get better because this one is there. Now this is one way to look at things. One way to look at all of this. You can also look at metrics, how the CPU usage of my machine, the machine that I'm using, the MacBook that I have. You'll also see the host, like my host, right? You can also filter it to multiple stuff. These are all the things that you can play with. Very easy, simple. Okay, so that's about the APM and the part. So now if you want to search, now click the PyCloud. You have a lot of data, of course. If you want to search drama, and then it'll again hit the search endpoint. If I want to search for action, it shows me actions. If I want to show like murder, right, So it shows me that. So all these are recorded here as we speak. Imagine in a production, if you are able to do it in your for your production system and find out all the errors, all the issues as a developer without asking logs, without looking at all of this, it's going to be beautiful, right? It's so easy. So that is one other thing to look at. Now you see that more things are in different places, average duration, etc, etc. I'll show you one more thing in the end. If you have any questions, please let me know. This is the time to ask. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
If we use the agents in the APM to collect the data, how do we know how many agents that we need to cover to collect enough data?
Okay, so I'll tell you a bunch of things. Basically, each application needs to have this library, you know. So this is the library that we are using. Each Python application. So if I have to say that you have, this is a Python Flask application, you wrote this code, wherever how many instances that you deploy, how many servers, how many containers that you deploy, everything will contain this. So every app will act as an agent and ship you the data. Okay, now there are good chances that you don't really want to ship all the apps with agents, but you just want to sample with few servers. Okay, you can do it in two ways. One way is you could simply remove this line. Okay, simply remove this line and then like get around it. That's completely fine. And then like you don't ship the agent with the application and then you deploy it in a separate manner. Another way, you can disable the APM itself. You can say like disable is equal to true. The app will not connect. You can do that. Like you can export it to like how I did, in the what do you call, in this particular config.json. I have, you can export like settings, say that disable is equal to true here, and you set this accordingly. The app will rebuild and change it, and it will not ship the metrics. And there is a third way. You could also sample the transactions. You can say that collect only, there is a sampling ratio actually. So it is 1 second by default. I'll show you. So it is 1 second actually. So okay, Flask sampling. Okay, so we have a very extensive documentation on this particular front, so that people generally ask us. So transaction sample rate. So you have 1. If you set anything less than 1 or 1, like 0.7, 0.5, if you reduce, it will automatically, reduce the collection rate, reduce the data. Okay. So there is nothing like, there are multiple ways you can do everything, every different approach. I hope I answered the question, but also in a very large, long fashion.
Yeah, that's the answer. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Great. So if you don't have any other questions, I have one more demo, or like one more thing that you could do it. Now you should definitely try doing all of this actually. So what happens in a traditional application is you get to see the issues, right? You get to have errors which are happening in the production, but you can't fix it in-house. You can't replicate them, right? User is saying that the page is not responding, or like there is an error, null pointer exception. There is something, right? There is some error, and you can't fix that. But you also don't see it in-house. So how do you fix that? So APM can automatically catch errors, not logged errors, but also like automatic errors. Suppose if you see that there is a non-existent record, and then that error is automatically captured. You didn't say anything, right? So it automatically captures errors, and it also shows the library frame. So what we'll do is, interestingly, we will add a logger saying that a test error, and then we will hit the page, and then whenever we hit the page, we should be able to see this the entire thing. So let me stop this, restart it. It is started, and let me hit this one. Now if you see that the error rate and everything is 0, I mean like nothing is there and nothing is going wrong. Now you also see that when you go and click on the get into it, the get also doesn't have error rate and doesn't show anything. It shows 200 okay for all the trace samples, etc. Now we deployed the change, what we'll do is remove this, click on search. Now it simply says, okay, this is saying like error in main, test error, the logger that we put in the logs. But you also can see that, you know, there would be a error that will be marked here. Let me go back and come. I don't know why it's not coming. Or it might, okay, sorry, it's not captured here. So it might not be captured. So it shows that it is an error. So if I click on this particular thing, what is the error? And then it shows me the test error. So it came me that test error. And then if I click here, it will show me the, you know, the trace, where the code has been, and everything. So how did I come here? I just saw the errors. Like you could also go to the errors and see how many times it has occurred and what is the latest time, error occurrences, etc. Or else you can go to the transactions and go to the get, and then you know, see if there are any errors, and then like click on that. You will also be able to see the errors. If this is instrumented as well, the APM, you can also see that as well. So you could do that. So we also support a lot of you know, databases, so that if I have to show you, I'll show you a demo as well. So if I have to show you that, you could also see the SQL queries, how they are executing, how they are not executing, etc., etc. So any questions, any things that I'm going a bit fast, but I think like I have covered most of it. I have showed this demo, and then if you have any questions, I'm happy to, you know, take at this point. I'm just going through the, you know, the APM that we have actually. So you could also go and see this by yourself. So we have a large microservice application which is called Obbeans. Again, this is open source. You can go and look at Obbeans source code. So how we do all of this. So see, it's like in production. So that's why. Exactly. So the Elastic doesn't mean you only logs. You'll be able to look at errors, transactions, application stuff. You will be able to do all of that. So that is why it's called observability. Now the key thing here is you will be able to look at logs from this Django or Python app or the Flask application itself. Now, if you see here, I am not logging anything crazy here, but I have enabled logging is equal to error. But if I enable logging is equal to true, it will take all the, you know, logs as well from here to you know, directly from here the agent can pick up logs. But don't put if you have a lot of logs, I don't recommend doing it via application, because it will put load in the application. You just do it from outside. But still, the idea here is to give a holistic perspective of everything. Say your logs, metrics, and traces. Let me show you one more thing here. Here. So we have an observability page. So if you go to overview page, then you will see how many traces, logs, metrics, uptime, alerts. You can do all of that, right? How cool is it? It's easier, right, for you to do all of that. So so that's what should help you to do all of that. Yeah, so these are the views. If you go to the home view, you'll also be able to see that some you see that we are only getting here, but here there are 0 milli requests, 50 milli requests, etc., etc., etc. So you have all that as well. In the Python again, see the errors, that there will be a bunch of errors, and then there are errors which are coming 9,000 times. 2 minutes ago also this error occurred. You will also see the group ID, which server it is coming, what is the page not found. So we didn't create all of that because the time, because of the learning capability, like virtually, but these are all the things that you can do. Great. Albert has an interesting question saying that not sure if you can answer this. What is the difference between Datadog and Elasticsearch? The only difference between the only commonality, I'll tell you, Datadog and Elasticsearch both use Elasticsearch. Elastic, the company which produces Elasticsearch, Datadog was a customer to us at some point, and then they use our technology as well. So APM has been added to Elastic from 2 years back, and then we are a open source vendor or open source company. Datadog is a SaaS company. Now, if you have observed, like this whatever Datadog does, the similar sort of experience we also have in the cloud. Of course, we are improving that in leaps and bounds. A lot needs to be added, and lots need to be done. Exactly, New Relic, Datadog, and a bunch of APM, App Dynamics, if you have heard of App Dynamics, and many other companies which does tracing. They are only doing tracing, and they're trying to do logs and metrics. What speciality with Elastic is Elasticsearch is used by all of these companies as a core engine, number one. And then second thing, while because we are doing and other people are building the same thing, we have done it from last 2 or 3 years, that you don't need to look at logs, metrics, and also you can look at traces. That's why if you see here, in the metric beat or in this place, we are unifying this experience for everyone. Now, if I show you the metrics area, we are trying to unify this for all types of data. Like you have, I'll take a bit to load, let this one load, and then I'll show you that the entire thing. That's why I showed you this Venn diagram, wherein like you have log circle, metrics circle, and APM circle. Now think that this is like a Kubernetes. This is a Kubernetes cluster, like Kubernetes pods, and then like you have 260 pods, and then I see that this pod is having more. Something is wrong about it. Click on it, and then I'll see logs, metrics, what the application is being done. Yeah. Yeah, of course, Anthony. APM service can also be used in Vue apps because we have a JavaScript agent. So if you go here to the docs, this is for Python. But if you go here and you go to the agents, so I'll go back to the agents actually, docs, and then APM. See application performance monitoring, then there is APM agents. If you click that, you have a ton of agents. We'll also be able to do, forget about the React JS, that sort of a thing. You'll also be able to do real user monitoring. That means how the user is responding to a particular, the thing. So that's why we are unifying everything. We are trying to see whether everything is like working together in a single time. Like you see that this is about uptime, whether your app is up or not. Okay, whether your app has TLS certificates and when it is ending. So there are multiple such stuff, and you could also look at all of this from here. Again, you can go. So this is an interesting thing to look at. So if you are specifically thinking, so that's it from my side. So if you want to share these details, or I'll put up the slides on my blog, but then it's already available in some form or the other. This is the place we run more of these meetups. There's a elastic community.elastic.co, wherein we have meetup groups so across the world, and we have a virtual group. So don't think about, it's not specific to India or Southeast Asia or anything. We also have a lot of groups, but because of the COVID, we are doing virtual meetups so that so that you have, because we are all in the similar time zone, 1 hour here and there, so you could join. So there is an upcoming event, I believe, which is saying what is new with Elastic, morning coffee. A lot of good events are coming. So similarly, you'll also be able to see a bunch of groups. You have Singapore group, we have Kuala Lumpur group. Please join that. But if you want to get to know about latest stuff, like also join the virtual group actually. So that is one thing. And then I have put up the resources in a Notion doc, so that all the talk resources. So if you have any questions and stuff, code, links to the agent, everything is there. Email ID is also given here. So let me Aravind at elastic.co. So this is my email ID. So you could also use my email ID to communicate to me. That's it. Thank you for joining, and over to PyCon admin